The first ever romance novel dates back to 1740 with Samuel Richardson's Pamela, but romance has always been a part of our entertainment and lives. The first movie ever made was in 1896 called First Kiss, and ever since then the genre has only gotten more popular. Think of Pride and Prejudice, The Notebook, When Harry Met Sally, and Titanic. What do all of these have in common? They are great and iconic romance stories. Now, cue in The Summer I Turned Pretty. This show has taken the world by storm, especially this final season, with friends and family gathering every Wednesday to watch a new episode. People love a good romance. However, is The Summer I Turned Pretty great and iconic, or is it just mediocre? What are some of its issues, and where does it succeed? It is a truth universally acknowledged that for any romance story to work, the main characters have to have undeniable chemistry. The type that makes you smile, giggle, and kick your feet. The kind that has you sitting at the edge of your seat, waiting for them to confess their feelings for each other, to give in. Because I don't know about you, but the second I question the chemistry or the instant I don't buy it, I'm no longer invested. Because I don't care whether these two end up together or not. You have to be invested. Are audiences invested in The Summer I Turned Pretty and Belly and Conrad? Sort of. See, prior to season 3 episode 6, I'd say yes. However, this show continuously did Conrad dirty, making the path to get to Bonrad extremely bumpy. And not in a good storytelling way. No, it was in an absolutely grating, annoying, headache-inducing kind of way. Romance stories always pull from cliches, but it's how they utilise them that makes it great. The love triangle, for instance. Everything I'm showing is not an example of great love triangles, but they are iconic. In my opinion, what made some of these great though, was even though there was a triangle, there was a clear choice. For Bella, it was only Edward. The Vampire Diaries had me worried for a hot second, but eventually it was clear that Damon was the only choice. And again, in my humble opinion, it's always been somewhat clear that for Belly, Conrad is her only choice. Yes, Jenny Han had me extremely worried for a hot second, but we got there in the end. All the way back in season 1, we saw how much Belly loved Conrad and how he always looked out for her, how for both of them, there was only ever each other. Sure, Jeremiah was there, but he was never truly in the running. And not to call them out, but their chemistry was never as believable or as great as the chemistry between Belly and Conrad. With Jeremiah, it always felt a bit cringe and forced. Arguably as well, a romance needs a good setback. A moment where everything is falling apart and all hope is lost. We see it time and time again. We always know that it's coming, that something, usually a fight, separates the two. This for me is where The Summer I Turned Pretty fell a little flat. Belly and Conrad break up at prom. Conrad didn't really want to be at prom because he had exams the next morning, and not to mention his mother was on her deathbed. You would think a normal person would be supportive and understand their partner is going through a really difficult time, but no, not at all. Belly gets frustrated with Conrad and this ends with them breaking up, and then we have the funeral where Belly makes Conrad's mother, Susanna's funeral, all about herself. She sees Conrad laying down in another woman's lap, honestly nothing dodgy going on, but Belly makes a scene and they argue, cementing their breakup. Now would be a good time to mention that the only reason Conrad was in the woman's lap was because he was having a panic attack. So there were two moments there that kind of broke my desire for the two of them to be together, but it could be mended at this point. I was still rooting for them. Cue in the end of season 2, Belly and Jeremiah get together, making out in Conrad's jumper on Conrad's car. So at this point it starts to feel even more hopeless, because Conrad is really being put through it, and Belly is out here destroying the brothers' bond. And then we have season 3, where Conrad apparently becomes everyone's punching bag. Everyone blames him for everything that goes wrong, constantly getting shat on left, right and centre, even from Belly herself. So it almost gets to a point where you, us the audience, start to dislike all the other characters and how they treat Conrad, our main love interest. To the point no one is really that fussed about wanting him with Belly, because this man deserves so much better. And that's a major problem when audiences stop caring about the main love interests ending up together. Because here's the thing, yes I cared, But it wasn't because Belly and Conrad being together was the couple I wanted together or that I thought they deserved each other. No, Conrad fully deserved better, but at this point in time, I felt like I had invested so much time into this show, so much wanting Belly and Conrad to be together, that by the end, my heart was no longer in it. But for convenience, and again, because I'd invested so much time, they had to. Like, it still bothers me that even though this show is Belly and Conrad's love story, one has to question, is it really? Because Belly and Conrad's relationship was barely shown in real time. For the most part, it was all in flashbacks. 90% of the show was Belly and Jeremiah being together, a fact that became more and more draining as the episodes went on. Season 3, episode 9? What were they thinking? It's rated 5.3 on IMDb, the lowest rating from the whole show. Because why were they giving us a filler episode when after this, there were only 2 episodes left? Why did I have to watch the same thing that's been happening all season again? Everyone shitting on Conrad for loving and genuinely caring for Belly when everyone was babying the cheater, Jeremiah. Yes, the episode was literally about Belly finding herself, but we didn't need it to be a giant Apple ad. This episode truly could have been a montage, or like many have said, an email. But no. It truly felt like a slap in the face to fans. It genuinely felt like a truly unnecessary episode. Had the show had 10 more episodes left, no one would have hated the episode as much as they did. But considering we got basically 2 seasons of Belly and Jeremiah, it absolutely sucks that Belly and Conrad only get 5 minutes at the end. It's a joke. And whilst a setback in a romance is good, this show almost has too many. Not even that, but the ones they do have are almost unforgivable from an audience's standpoint and even a writer's standpoint. There's only so much you can edge an audience before they tap out. Because the annoying thing is, when this show worked, it worked really well. Season 3 episode 5 will be cemented in my brain for the rest of time. I've already watched it 5 times. It almost feels like a mini movie to me. I just wish they had more episodes like that rather than rage baiting us 24/7. So in the end, was it worth it? Kind of. More so now that we know a movie is coming. Episode 10 was alright, much better than episode 9, but I didn't feel like we needed to see Jeremiah that much. Seeing the brothers make up was good though, that was definitely needed. And I'm glad that Conrad set Jeremiah straight in telling him that Belly is not an object, you cannot own a person, and the fact that Jeremiah only waited, not even really waited, but only took a month after Conrad's breakup with Belly to get together with Belly. Like, finally the man was speaking. I am mad though that yes, Benito is in the books, and yes, it is arguably a good thing for her to date someone outside of the family, but I wanted Belly to experience being single for longer, not just 5 seconds or a year. It makes me roll my eyes when writers say that a woman character is experiencing growth and discovering herself, yet they throw her under another man. Surely there's a way for a woman to grow without her having to be under another man. And this isn't me slut-shaming Belly. I say go get it. But at the same time, she's not been single for like what's felt like forever at this point. She's been bouncing between, there was Cameron, then there was Jeremiah, then there was Conrad, then there was Jeremiah, and it just felt like this girl needed a longer break than what they gave her in the show, and it really had me rolling my eyes. Because to me, it just feels like really lazy writing when this happens. I did enjoy though the growth I saw from Belly in this episode, with her figuring stuff out on her own and working her 2 jobs. I feel like we could have had a lot of this in episode 9 though. I do wish this episode would have shown some of the characters apologising to Conrad, aka Steven, because there was no reason for him to still be so hostile towards Conrad. Jeremiah cheated on your sister, yet faces no consequences from anyone about it. Again, felt like they were beating a dead horse. The only reason I can see Steven accepting what Jeremiah did was because he is also a cheater, so for him, the crime isn't that bad. But yeah, I still feel like Steven moved on from Jeremiah cheating way too fast. Adam cutting off Jeremiah financially was the best thing he could do for him though. I was surprised this hadn't happened sooner, and it clearly worked out for him though, because he is doing so much better in episode 11. Seeing him outside of a relationship was refreshing and actually made him way more likable. Okay, episode 11. After me and my friends watched this episode, we weren't quite sure how to feel. We were neither ecstatic nor disappointed, just left in the middle somewhere. This episode wasn't bad, They had just dug themselves in a hole where they had so much to wrap up that it felt impossible. And it was. Instantly, when Conrad showed up in Paris, the vibes were off from the get-go. And I do get it. Belly wasn't expecting him. It was a very spontaneous moment that caught Belly off guard, and to give her some credit, she has been doing all this growth on her own in Paris, building this whole other life. So yeah, it would be extremely jarring to see Conrad just showing up. However, she had always wished for Conrad on her birthday, and that wish was basically coming true. The whole build-up this episode had me so concerned that we were going to have Belly choose herself, because my god, it was so hard to read the vibes in Paris. It felt truly like she had moved on and wanted nothing to do with Conrad in a romantic way anymore, and my heart, along with Conrad's, couldn't handle that. Me and my friends were stressing sitting around that TV. Their flirting though, boy, was that some top tier stuff. I felt like I should look away from the TV. Like the part in the restaurant bar place with Belly's friends, and Belly was smoking the cigarette, and it was a direct parallel to season 1 with the whole, do you remember everything I say? Because girl, that was so hot. Like, oh my god, get a room. But that scene also showed me how much they had both grown, because it was no longer two teens in a room flirting. These were two fully grown adults flirting, and flirting very successfully. Then we have their little moonlight stroll where they start to talk about where they are at in their lives and whether or not Belly has moved on. For a moment there, for more than a moment really, I was stressing. Hair was about to fall out because the way I thought Belly was about to say she had moved on, and I was going to throw my friend's TV out the window. It was no joke. I know you all felt the same. We know how this scene goes though. Miss Girl definitely hadn't moved on because that taxi scene, holy shit, was that hot. The hunger from the both of them was top tier. Like, okay, alright, I wasn't aware of your game. My jaw was dropped the entire time. All of us sat around the TV and we were shocked beyond words. I did not think we were going to get a scene like that between the two of them, especially one that delivered so well. Oh my god, what a scene. Oh my god. Not to mention the moment in the hallway. Like again, the hunger was so strong they couldn't even wait until they got into the apartment. It felt like such a deserved moment for us Bonrad stans. So I'm so happy we all got that. And also the use of dress by Taylor Swift was also top tier. Also, a moment to appreciate Betty's dress because again, me and my friends along with Conrad's jaws dropped when she walked out in that black dress. We were like, oh my god, stunning. Oh, that was such a dress. Oh my god. What a moment to be alive. But then Jenny threatened to take it all away in the span of 5 seconds. To be fair, Conrad saying after they did the deed that now Belly is stuck with him forever, that would also make me start to feel a bit trapped, a bit unprepared. But also, this is Conrad we're talking about. You would think by now Belly would understand the gravity of his love for her, but no. It was so frustrating to see her treating him like a one-night stand, and it hurt seeing how much that defeated Conrad to almost be used like that. Like, it upset me when I saw her grow so detached from him in that moment, because I was like, girl, we just had Conrad, when they were walking outside, tell her how much like this meant to him, and you could see in his face how much this meant to him. So I was going to be so pissed off if she literally just used him for a one-night stand. If she just used him for a one-night stand, I was not going to have that. I would have been pissed off. However, as frustrating as that scene was, as close as we came to Belly choosing herself, I'm glad we had this moment, because Conrad's love confession will go down in history, mark my words. The way he tells her that he has changed everything in his life, but the one thing he cannot change is his love for her. Ooh, if I was Belly, I would have been proposing to him. So it truly was only fitting that even after all of that, even when she hears his confession and still kicks him out, it was only right that she went to track him down and confess her love for him. It was about time that Miss Stomach chased him. It felt a little odd though that the song of choice for this moment was Out of the Woods by Taylor Swift. Like, am I the only one that thought this? I'm not in the camp of people who is tired of hearing Taylor's songs in the show. I actually love it, but I felt like there were so many better options for that moment. I still really felt like I wanted more between Conrad and Belly. I was kind of shocked there was no major time jump to a wedding or them with everyone else at Cousins. Instead, we just see them riding in Conrad's car and going back to Cousins when it's empty. And then we had that weird AI Christmas photo shoot in the credits. But I am glad they ended up together, and again, thank God there's going to be a movie. Thank God, because the ending still felt rushed. Like, I need more scenes of Belly and Conrad. This movie cannot come soon enough. I also want to see everyone else all together because the B plot in this episode also felt so incomplete. Like, they had Stephen and Taylor all happy together, but we had this same moment only an episode or two ago, so we weren't exactly getting groundbreaking news there. And for me, that's a big issue this show has, is they tend to repeat the same things again and again and again between characters and episodes, to the point it feels like we're actually getting nowhere. And I felt that a lot of Stephen and Taylor. 2 episodes ago, when the wedding was called off, or an episode ago, I can't remember when, but we had this exact moment of Stephen and Taylor, you know, declaring that they're all in for it together, they're all in, they're gonna be together. So I didn't know why we had to have that same discussion and moment again. Then we had Jeremiah and Denise. Yes, they look happy and cute together, but my boy better not do Denise dirty. She's too cool and mature and again cool of a character to be dragged down by Jeremiah. But yeah, the B plot just felt like it randomly ended without a proper conclusion. They just panned to a couple shots of them at the end, but it felt almost as if the B plot was completely unnecessary and as if they kind of just dropped it halfway through the episode. Episode 11 wasn't awful, and it wasn't great, but it really did leave me wanting more. And again, I am so grateful that we are getting a movie, because I need to see what was in the letter to Belly from Susanna. We need to also see Susanna's ring on Belly's finger, and then we also need to see her wedding, thank you. Part of me does wonder though when this movie was planned. Did it only get greenlit when Amazon Prime saw how successful season 3 was? Was the ending we got supposed to be the final ending? And when Amazon Prime saw the backlash, and at the same time the success of the show, did they panic a bit? Or was this all planned from the beginning? I'm not too sure. I can't tell if the movie is just damage control to an extent, because again, the Christmas photo shoot in the credits was giving zero budget, and it was also giving AI made photos. Some of them had that weird blurry effect you see on AI photos. Maybe it's not AI photos. Perhaps they just had a corner of the room, an empty present, and a dream. What do you guys think? Safe to say I will be seated for the movie. I really cannot wait. I'm a bit nervous that we will have to wait until 2026, 2027 because of Jenny Han saying she only just finished the first draft. But then other parts of me are suspicious that we are getting this movie way sooner than they are letting on. As in, we're getting it around Christmas time. Because in that same interview, Jenny doesn't state when we are getting the movie, just that it won't be next year. So will it be this year? Because surely they want to keep up with the momentum of the show. Who knows though, only time will tell. Overall, I do think The Summer I Turned Pretty is an okay love story. I think the idea of the love story is better than the execution of it. I think there were way too many hurdles to get to where we are now, and I think for this show to have actually been Belly and Conrad's love story, then we would have had to have seen more of them together rather than apart. But then again, when the show worked, like season 3 episode 5, it really worked. Even the finale too, because they had some amazing flirting in their scenes together. Again, let me know what you guys thought of the show, the finale, and now this potential movie. Are you happy, or are you a bit tired of all of this and ready to say goodbye? That's enough from me, and I will see you in the next one.